valuable days deliberating how to respond to this death threat, and by the time I finally decided to make a dash for the airport, the fighting had spread to the tarmac, and all flights out were canceled. Rebels, meanwhile, had thoughtfully mined roads and blown up bridges, so driving across the nearest border wasn't an option either. Stuck in the capital, Luanda, I strayed into a courtyard of snipers and nearly got shot in the forehead. I also wasn't dressed for success being survival, and scurried about in flimsy keds. Flak jackets? Never heard of them. Finally, I sabotaged my only communication with the outside world, the $10,000 satellite phone my editor had given me, one of a mere handful in town, when I failed to plug in a surge protector during one of the constant blackouts. The phone had to go to a repair shop, and there wasn't one in all of Angola. Lest you think I was a complete fool, let me say that such ignorance was common in those days. At that time, the news business didn't have safety protocols. We simply headed to a sketchy area with a bottle of Bell's whiskey and cries of, "Good luck!" The office would rejoice if you came back intact. If you didn't, the boss would hold a memorial and send flowers to your family. If you were really popular, someone would open a single malt and pass it around the newsroom. Eventually, the man who wanted to execute me was shot in the legs, not by me, so I didn't have to worry about him anymore. And battles at the airport stopped long enough for commercial flights to resume. On the plane back to Johannesburg, where I'd been living for the past year, I ordered a sparkling brut to celebrate the safe exit. But I had a nagging suspicion that with some simple homework and forethought, I could have operated in a more prudent manner. That conviction grew deeper as my career unfolded over the next few decades, on 5 continents. I've since reported on 7 civil wars, 1 genocide, several separatist rebellions, and 48 assorted rogue militias, gangs, vigilantes, and drug cartels. The civil unrest and mob situations I covered probably number in the hundreds. As time went on, equipping myself with contingency plans and risk analyses, I felt more confident going into other problematic situations, like landslides in gloomy American neighborhoods and middle school soccer games. I learned how to negotiate with armed drunk teenagers at foreign checkpoints and to search under my city golf for explosives. I discovered how to stay reasonably clean in a shelter and how to apply pressure to a spurting artery. I gleaned how to protect my phone conversations from Vladimir Putin's intelligence agents and outwit policemen bent on rape. As Confucius once said, "He who fails to prepare, prepares to fail." Or as I like to say, without proper planning, you're screwed. I got into media safety training in 2005 after too many colleagues were maimed, raped, killed, or kidnapped. I had faced too many close calls myself, and it occurred to me, and others in the industry, that popping cheap airplane champagne after surviving wasn't an effective tactic. We needed to lessen the odds of fatality by guarding against the perils. To that end, I incorporated new safety protocols into my classes at Columbia University's Graduate School of Journalism, where I've been teaching for nearly 2 decades. Workshops that I ran outside the university blossomed into a consulting business for organizations around the world, and as one of the few women who did safety training, I honed primers that addressed the special needs of females. As my clientele grew, people began to approach me outside the small journalist community. Most of them were women who felt particularly exposed to danger and unsure how to react. There was a college junior who was spending a gap year in Jordan and wanted to know what precautions she should take. Someone who was vacationing in Puerto Rico during hurricane season asked about generators and contracting Zika while pregnant. Everyone wanted to know about preparing for the surge of natural disasters that have been hitting lately. In 2017, after a gunman massacred 58 people at a music festival in Las Vegas,